Hello, my name is Sophie Verbeke, and I will be doing a close reading of a passage from We Need New Names by No Violet Buluweo. My research topic is on the use of specific diction and names and how they achieve a sense of dissonance between an immigrant and their home. So for a summary, Darling is a girl from Zimbabwe, and after a bout of violence, she moves to America to live with her aunt in Michigan. And it talks about basically how she doesn't feel like she belongs in either world. So specifically, I will be discussing how diction in the book allows Buluweo to successfully portray Darling as feeling ostracized by both her family in Zimbabwe and American society in general. So context for the passage that I use, Darling is having an internal monologue directed at the reader. She's discussing how it feels being an illegal immigrant and how she feels estranged from American society, especially considering the polarizing political climate, and how basically her life is very different in Michigan and how it'll never be like home. And this is immediately after receiving some culture shock after attending an American wedding. So the passage is, we hid our real names, gave false ones when asked, we built mountains between us and them, we dug rivers, we planted thorns, we had paid so much to be in America, we did not want to lose it all. So the first part of this is, we hid our real names, gave false ones when asked. So because of the first person plural used here, it's basically universal experience for many immigrants. And it specifically relates to the title of the book, We Need New Names, because she needs to give up her Zimbabwean name because she feels estranged from American society and goes to get a different one. So it transitions from names like God Knows, Bastard, Darling, Chico, which are names of characters, and then they transition to names like Aaron, Josh, or typical American names. This is very interesting considering that the author herself went by Elizabeth, or her name was Elizabeth, and but for this book she uses as a pseudonym No Violet, which is with Violet, and Violet is her mother. So she goes from a very typical American name to an African name to reclaim her roots from Zimbabwe. So the last part of the quote is, we paid so much to be in America, we did not want to lose it all. So actually there's some parallel structure here, being we plus verb in each part of it. And basically it's emphasizing that there's this trade-off between identity and the feeling of belonging in a new country. So you have to give up parts of your identity in order to feel like you belong. And still there's this huge cavern or mountain between metaphorical mountain between you and the feeling of belonging in American society. And what's really interesting about this quote in particular is that Darling refers to the US as my America for most of the first part of the book. But in this quote itself, it says just in America. And so after immigrating, she actually never says my America again, except for in a chapter title. So basically, her America is this dream world where she can own a Lamborghini, where she can eat all the food she wants, where she has all these friends. But after immigration, it no longer feels like that's her America, and she doesn't feel like she belongs to her or that it belongs to her. So finally, the map that I chose is map of immigrants in the United States. Specifically, there's a pretty high proportion in everywhere, 7% in Michigan. And so even though there's a large number of immigrants from, of course, all over, they still feel disconnected to their society, which sort of proves that America is not the melting pot that we think that it is. And that you have to give up some of your cultural identity to feel like you belong. And that's something that we need to focus on and change. All right, thank you.